Welcome to Burnout Business and Body, the podcast that inspires you to take care of yourself and your life in 3 powerful ways.
Hi, I'm Nicole Lawton, your burnout coach, here to help you slow down, reconnect, and rediscover the peace that lives beneath the pressure.
And I'm Belinda Smith, your business coach, here to show you how to grow a business that supports your life and your team, that builds cohesion and leads to greater connections and healthy profit.
And I'm Sabina, your body coach. I teach you strategies and shortcuts to work with your body instead of against it. So you can not only get more done in less time, but it will optimize your energy and performance from the inside out.
I love it.
Yay.
Together we'll explore how burnout, business and body all connect and how small shifts in each can create big changes in your energy, your work and your life. Well, welcome.
Hello, girls.
Hey, girls.
Hey,
Have you had a good week?
Yes.
Everyone's had a good week?
Yes.
Yeah.
We've had a bit of a sad week, but it's okay. It's all right. But this is a new week, and so yeah, all good.
We're here for you.
Thank you. Yeah, a friend's husband passed away from bowel cancer, and so it was very sad. But we had a celebration of life in Manly on Friday, which was nice.
Yeah.
And also it's Men's Health Day this Wednesday, so it's sort of like a good reminder that everyone needs to take care of their health.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no one holds space like 3 coaches in a room. So we're here for you.
No,
100%.
thank you, darling. Thank you. I'm very blessed. I'm very lucky to have you girls. So what's on the cards for today?
Well, I think it's about time that we talk about why we do what we do.
Love that.
Love that. Juicy. How long have we got? We'll have to cap it, I think.
Maybe today. Well, why don't we just talk about it?
We'll.
Yeah.
So let's go then.
All right. Well, we're going to kick off with Nicole. So burnout, let's talk about that. So Nicole, if we're talking about where you've come from, what did burnout take from you that you never want anyone else to lose?
Burnout literally took me from me.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
The pivotal moment that I knew understood what burnout really meant was a day where I was really, really ill, and my beautiful baby girls had come in to check on me, and they wanted hugs and love and all the rest of it, which I'm normally got full of energy and giving off very plentifully. And this particular day, I just felt empty, completely empty. There was no, I certainly didn't feel anxious or depressed. I just felt empty and went, wow, this is what having nothing left in the tank feels like, that I needed to let them know that they were loved and that I'd give them many cuddles, but just to have them in the room was too much energy for me that I could not reciprocate. So to feel that empty, and I just told them that I needed to go and have a sleep. And I was in my bedroom anyway, just let mummy sleep for a little bit and recharge, which did help, by the way. But, I just was laying there feeling so drained, so unwell, just so empty, and went, oh, wow, this is what, burnout was. And so, I was unrecognizable to myself because that's not who I am. I'm normally full of joy and love life and love everybody. And and I had literally not even the strength to give my beautiful girls a hug. That's how empty it was. There was no energy in the tank. So yeah, that was definitely my first moment of learning it,
Wow.
you know.
Mm.
And I think you hear
Wow.
about it, you know, you hear about stress and burnout, but I don't actually think that society understands what it actually is until you've lived it. And even then, it's not really shared amongst people because it's
Mm.
kind of got a bit of a stigma to it of like, oh no, because if I share that, then I might look like I'm not coping or I'm not handling life. And well, I can't do that because everyone else is. So why shouldn't I? And I think it just takes you down rabbit holes that are really are unpleasant for your self-talk and your own personal self. And then you never ask for help, do you? So it leaves you really stuck in this position. So
Wow.
yeah.
And when was that, Nicole?
That was 5 years ago now.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how old were your kids?
So they literally, one turned 14 yesterday and the other one turned 16 a week ago. So
9/11.
yeah, they were 9 and 11 at the time. Yeah. And that's the two girls. I've got two older boys as well. So, but it was the experience was shared with the girls at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I
What
feel
about
like
you,
when
Belinda?
it's hard to switch now. I feel like I want to stay talking about that.
Ask away.
Yeah. Well, it's just because you had a passionate thought. I just feel like the continuity, if it's okay, if I could just stay
Yeah.
there with you. Um, and so because that experience, why is helping people feel regulated, which you talk about quite often, and safe, why is it so important to you personally?
Because that was the journey to get back up, to get over the health condition or even to a managed position in the health condition. Um, I had to go through this massive journey. And I have done it. So I've walked what I talk. And I learnt that it all boiled down to the dysregulation within me. And how can we feel empowered when we're not feeling within ourselves safe? You know, if we can't trust ourselves, if we can't believe in who we are, then how are we meant to feel empowered to then move on to other, move in this world? And I was very, very good at putting everyone else's needs first. It was there was many reasons for that. That I learnt that the perfectionism, the need to appease everyone and make sure their life was all right. But when I did that, I dismissed myself, and just learning that it's okay to choose. But then when I had to learn to choose, it felt so selfish. It felt, and so it's just layered, this healing journey. And it's an incredible journey. It's not an easy journey. But for once we get through it, the breakthroughs, the empowerment that you feel, and not in a egotistical way either. It's just like, I think now I feel the best that I have ever felt in 5 years, and I've even had
Wow.
massive. Only a couple of years ago, I had another big bomb go off in my life in the health area, and we can speak more to that at a later date. But I just looked at it this year and was like, oh my goodness, I'm running around again. I'm going from one thing to another. And I'm very, very cautious that I can easily burn out because I'm very good at running. My old life had me running, so I know I'm an expert at that. But the reality is now I'm running because I choose to in a healthy way. And I sat back the other day and reflected and went, but you actually have the energy. You actually have the energy to do this. And I went, oh, I'm feeling real good. Like, the health is obviously doing much better, and I'm feeling happier within myself, and I like who I am. I like this version of me. And yeah, it's a lot of learnings, a lot of things overcoming, a lot of unlearning the things that got me to that point. But to have that pure emptiness, to then feel this full, like I wouldn't know it if I didn't have the what's the word that's eluding me at the moment? The duality of having, the emptiness and then the fullness. Now I get it, but now I go, oh, the fullness that I have now, it's solid. Whereas my fullness before happened to be a bit more false because it was just to keep pushing forward and keep going because that's what you got to do. Whereas now I keep going forward and I keep moving because I love it. It's life and and I've got the energy to be very present in it and to enjoy it now.
Wow.
Can I just ask
Awesome.
a little coaching question in there?
Mm.
When something is going on for you that you're not recognizing,
Yes.
is that because you haven't done the work?
Was that for me personally or
Yeah.
for general?
Was that happening for you at the time because you hadn't done the work? You weren't recognizing
at the time,
it?
I didn't even know what the work was.
Yeah, right.
I had no idea of what the work was. And, it's one thing to crash and burn, have health conditions, and I did it in, look, I am like a lot of us very special unicorns in the world. I don't half-ass it. So I did definitely do it at the greatest level that you could possibly burn out at. I had many signals and signs along the way, but I didn't know how to get off. I didn't know how to stop it. I didn't know that I could. And then the body does it for you, as you will know, Sabina, in that area. My body did it. And in order for me to heal, my doctor looked at me in the eye and said, you need to learn how to manage your stresses. And I was like, well, what does that mean? What does it do? And she recommended trauma hypnotherapy for rewiring your mindset. So I went and did a bit of that and a little bit of this. And along my way, I found, oh, wow, that was amazing. I feel more empowered than I've ever felt. Oh, that was amazing. And then my journey just unraveled and it went from there. So it was definitely healing what I didn't know needed to be healed.
You mentioned, Nicole, before you got to that point where, the girls came into the room for a hug. But you said before that there was a few telltale signs, or like they were there and you were just sort of like, shh, quieting them down and sort of going over them. What kind of telltale signs, little note, little alarm bells were coming up that weren't as big and grand as what you experienced that day with the girls, but that other people might sort of like be, the alarm bells are ringing, but they're not people might be not really sure, is it alarm bell, or am I being paranoid, or am I, like what kind of things can people look out for?
So my digestive system was a nightmare. And I was actively eating healthy. I was juicing. I was, and I was going beetroot red in the face, like my body. So that was a thing. I couldn't get, I'm eating what everyone perceives to be as healthy food. And yet for me, it was not healthy. So, for an example, I'd have a handful of almonds. Well, one day I had that handful of almonds and I went crimson blue from head to toe.
Wow.
And I got to the doctor. I went to a chemist and they're like, you're having an allergic reaction to something. And I thought almonds were one of the nuts that didn't have any allergies associated to it. And they're like, get to the doctor. So I walked to the doctor, sat down, and it took a while. And then for whatever reason, my body regulated enough. But by the time she's seeing me, she doesn't see me in the full-blown thing that's happening. And I thought, well, that's a bit odd. And then for lunch, I'd have rice cakes with avocado and cucumber and tomato. And then after I ate it, I would be beetroot red. Like I'd have this flushing thing. And I'm going, what's going on? And I was juicing the celery. And I'm not saying that this doesn't work for people, but I have since learned what was in those foods that were reacting with me that weren't at the time. The girls was a byproduct. Like that was the emotion that I really felt empty. But the big finale was anaphylaxis due to chemicals. And so that was my complete stop. And it was after that, when we're on no one knows what's going on with me, they can't identify it. It becomes like this mystery illness that no one knows about, until I did see a naturopath who then put me in touch with an integrated doctor, so proper GP, but who also looks at the natural side of things as well. And then she could, straight off the bat, diagnose me because my symptoms were loud and all the rest of it, and through the history. So, there was food things. There was I'd wake up 3 o'clock in the morning all the time. I would feel exhausted when I woke up in the morning, never feeling like I really had a great sleep. The looping thoughts, the going over conversations that I might have had, like that it was just high stress, on every level. And my body, even though I now know what that feels like because I've been forced to stop and pause, but like the energy, like I was just adrenaline all the time. I couldn't shut that off, and it wasn't like I was actively trying to support my system and find out what was going on, and no one had answers for me. And until I came crashing down in a massive way. So, yeah.
You have to
I
figure
think
it
that's
all out yourself.
something that a lot of people don't understand is that what is healthy for one person is not necessarily healthy for another.
No.
And it's all bio-individual. We're all made completely different. We have different microbiomes. We're completely different. So whilst there are a few things that we can sort of apply, we still have to tweak and test because we're all individual, beautifully individual. But remember that what's healthy for, especially when you get older, I see a lot of the time is, people eating the same stuff that they did at 18 and unsure why it's not working as it did when they were 18. You wouldn't feed a steak to a 1-year-old kid. But if it was a 13-year-old kid, you would give do you know what I mean? And it's that same kind of thing. But we forget often that it's all about sort of everybody's different, and looking out for your own signals and being confident enough to actually say, this is not working for me. Healthy in not or not, right? It's not working.
100%. And even like on my journey, like when I say I've walked this path, I literally have had to overcome so much. I used to still dismiss my needs so I didn't make people outside of me uncomfortable because I needed to do it a different way. And so much toxic positivity came my way, so many people trying to make light of my situation, not knowing the depths of what I was dealing with either. And that just made me feel worse and more stressed and more pressured. And I didn't want to be different. I didn't want to have to, I couldn't, look, I couldn't leave my home and walk down the street without my throat tightening every 5 to 10 minutes. I couldn't eat food that I loved. I didn't know that. Medications and supplements I was reacting to. The reason the naturopath couldn't get me any further after all the medical normal doctors had gone, don't really know. I was reacting to everything she gave me, spending hundreds of dollars on stuff that, I'm only ever going to know if I take it and then have a reaction, and didn't know why this reaction was happening until she referred me to someone else who had a greater, even more in-depth
functional medicine,
understanding. And even then it was still not as bad with the trial and error, but my body seemed to react quite well. But then even, fast forward to 2.5 years ago, I end up having a heart attack, not a normal one, a SCAD.
Wow.
And I can tell you, when you look that up, it's rare. And it's where the lining of your artery tears away from the wall. And when I had that, it was after I'd been camping for a week. And before I went camping, I had a massive emotional upset. I went camping with some beautiful friends at the time. We had 2 places that we went. I was loving it. However, me not wanting to not give my children a good life and limit them because of my needs, of what I need. We've gone camping. It's April. There is fire pits everywhere. I
Right.
react to smoke.
Yeah.
So I'm in a tent and my body's in constant exposure to the smoke. I'm in the elements. So we're dealing with whatever nature's giving me as well. I am taking all my medication. I'm eating the right food that I could. I might have had a bit of a splurge here and there, like seriously, I can't be good all 100% of the time. However, I predominantly was, but we were also outside. So we were exploring, we were doing exercises, we were visiting amazing places. And, we went to this place with some caves in it. Well, I walked into that cave and I bolted out because the wet and the damp mold.
Right.
My body reacts to that.
Yeah.
So for me, every single day, there was not one thing triggering my body, 2. And then halfway through the week, we had to pull all the tents down. Well, they had a caravan. I had the tent. We had to pull down our setup. We had to pack it all in the car, and then we went for a drive to go further to another place. We ended up at Thredbo, and then we had to set it up, and there's a photo of me that night, and I look like death. And I remember feeling so exhausted, like nothing else. The next day we relaxed, but it rained and it was cold. And then the next day we went and did Mount Kosciuszko. And Mount Kosciuszko is not a hard walk, but it's a very long walk and it's up high altitude. That put pressure on my body. And I remember feeling a little bit of pain in my wrists, and then I put my hands in my jacket and that pain sort of disappeared and I didn't think anything of it. And we did the walk, but my body was already aching every day from the day before. And it was just the impact of what others would just be doing normally and take for granted as something that they could do. I was starting to really begin to go, oh shit, I can't even do this. We got home from that walk and I could barely walk. I could barely move. I was that sore. And my friend said, Sunday's forecast is for rain. Do you mind if we pack up tomorrow and go home? And I was like, oh my God, thank you. Yes, I am so happy to pack up and go home tomorrow. And I'll never forget, I hopped in that car and I rang my mum and I said, we're on our way home. And she said, you don't sound so good. And I said, Mum, I've never known my body to feel so baked. I feel baked. I got out, Epsom salt and magnesium baths is a savior for me. And I pulled up to my house and I didn't even unpack the car. I fell straight into a bath. I was like, I need to nurture my body right now. And I knew that I had baked my body, and I knew that I needed to rest for the rest of the week. Like it was going to take me a while to recover from this. And It happened to be my son's birthday. We went out for dinner. Apparently, I looked a shade of grey. And that was on Sunday. And then on the Monday, I had the SCAD heart attack. So, I think there's many layers to this SCAD, but I would definitely put money on the fact that I just didn't get out, like I didn't get a break from what triggers me. And even though it was a wonderful holiday, and I wouldn't, I would recommend it to everybody, but for my situation, not so much. And, there's been, you go to a restaurant and I've got to be as gluten-free and dairy-free, and it's a real thing. And if I used to in the beginning say, beep it, and I'll just eat it because it's all right. And by doing that, I just gave myself a reaction, and I was putting myself in danger to make other people more comfortable around me. And that was a lot, because then choosing me, well, what did that mean? And I didn't want to make other people uncomfortable. And, this was all stuff like trauma responses from just what I was, like my life and what I had learnt, my strategies to keep me safe from my experiences. So, it's a very uncomfortable thing to choose yourself. So being what people perceive as selfish is actually what I needed to keep me alive.
Oh, wow.
And functioning in life. So it's a massive journey. And then, I've been officially diagnosed with what they call mast cell activation syndrome. Even through my daughters, there's hypermobility. There's so many different things that are coming up in diagnoses that are overlapping and becoming who, and, for a long time, I didn't even want to own that this was what I had. And then I didn't realize that by not taking it, like that mindset of, well, if I don't believe I'm having it, then it won't be a thing, like I'll get over it. I can think my way out of this, like just think positive, rewire the mind. Yeah, you can, but you can't. You have to make action changes. You can't just think your way out of it. You have to understand what got you there in the first place. Why were you so stressed? What's your triggers in the stresses? Learn to put boundaries in place. Learn to be able to turn around and go, you know what? I've had such a big week. Today is a day that I actually have to lay on that couch because I've got to let my body catch up. And if I don't, then I'm no good to anyone the next day. So putting that oxygen mask on yourself is not selfish. It's actually mandatory. It's actually what you need to do.
Self-preservation.
Yeah. And so I had to learn to choose me over and over again and feel comfortable with that, and it not feel so selfish, it not feel like I'm letting others down because of that. Stress is a major trigger for the mast cells. And for the viewers who don't know what it is, it's a massive histamine reaction where I will have a reaction to something and my body is so dysregulated with the mast cells, it just overfloods my body with histamine, and then I get more sensitive in the day and more sensitive and bang on, and it's and this can happen. This is just it. I've got to learn to manage it for me to be able to be in the world and of the world. So, if I get excited, just genuinely, I'm so excited for people and I'm really and that's my nature. I can trigger a histamine reaction.
Wow.
But if I'm crying and upset, I'm triggering a histamine reaction. Like it's, the sun. I love going to the surf and being in the ocean, but too much sun is triggering a histamine reaction to me. Too hot, too cold.
I'm really curious. I've got to ask. I'm curious. Sorry to jump in. I'm very, very curious. So none of this was happening before?
No.
And all through
before
this
what? Sorry, honey?
Well, like when, you were living life, normally, and then burnout hit. And
So
life
they
wasn't like
pro-
this before.
Yeah, not after the anaphylaxis, it was everything. Beforehand, it was there. It was just showing up. So a histamine reaction with every hormonal change I had a massive histamine reaction. Hindsight's really wonderful, to look back on and go, oh, that's what that was. Because that's the same way I feel now when I get a histamine reaction. It was just unknown of. So I was running and searching for the answers. No one had the answers. No one knew what was going on. I literally had a doctor tell me, we have done extensive testing and it's in your head.
It's not good.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so which only put more stress on me, going, oh my God, if I'm creating this for me, what on earth am I doing? Like, what's going on? And it wasn't until I found my doctor who's just like, it's not all in your head. It's very real. It's very much happening. But stress is a trigger, so you need to learn to manage your stresses. Well, that you can hear, that you can understand. Even the SCAD, when I was in rehab, recovering, for me to recover, any exercise stresses my body out. So basically anything that's going to stress your body out of your normal range puts pressure on my body. So me recovering from the SCAD took me 2 years to build up my cardio, to make me feel all right. I reacted to every medication they gave me to treat me, didn't know that, couldn't physically stand up for 3 months, longer than 10 minutes, because the blood would rush from my head, because I was allergic to the drug that they put me on. So, it's been a very, very challenging time, but very minimal people understand it. It's very overwhelming for anyone outside of me to comprehend what this means. It's not like the label, cancer, you kind of get to know what that is, but we don't. What I've learned, we don't. No one knows what anyone's going through. We hear a label and go, "Osh," And so, I'm not going to run around. I had people say, oh, so, what aren't you, like, what are you allergic to? I'm like, yeah, like, honestly, it's like more the question of what aren't I allergic to? And really, I don't even know that. So, but the healing process has been this also, it sounds horrific, and there's been such overwhelming times. It's been very lonely, the journey going through it. I've literally, held on to my doctor that I have found, who's been able to give me and explain and really sit down and work through it all. What's the word? Just this work it's been a blessing as well. And I say it's been one of my greatest blessings because it has taught me to speak up and advocate for my health, for myself. It's taught me to learn all about me, in order to take care of me, I needed to learn to love me. I needed to learn to know that I was worth me choosing me, that I was to believe in myself, because only I knew what was going on within myself, and no one else has to understand that. And to trust in myself that I will get through this. So I still will have reactions. I'm not 100% healed at all, but I have more really good days and weeks now than I've ever had. I rarely I'll get a tightened throat on the rare occasion now, whereas before it was daily. It was, 5 times in 1 hour. Like, I'll never forget leaving this house and walking down the street and someone's cigarette smoking and someone's perfume, and the shops all have the perfumes, and I'm just like dying. because my throat is closing over, and then I'm in panic, and then I'm creating it even worse, and I just came home bawling my eyes out, going, I can't even leave my own home. So
It's not good.
it's been a massive journey of learning all about me, unlearning what got me there, what's stressing me out, and learning how to remain calm in all the storms of life that we get. I'm still learning. I haven't perfected everything, but I have major leaps and bounds and progress in all of it. And I know my greatest understanding, and Sabina, you will definitely attest to this, is that the mind, the body, and the soul are all one as far as I'm concerned.
100%.
The body keeps the score for every stress that you go through life, for every negative thought, everything that you are doing. It will hear the good, it will hear the bad, and it will react whether you're recognizing it or not. And when you're not, it's going to come crashing down at some point in some autoimmune problem or something, and you'll go, oh, I wonder why that happened. And so this is why. This is why, because if I can prevent someone from burning out and never having to feel that emptiness that I felt, what an amazing gift to give to someone.
Oh my gosh.
To live the life that I'm living and being able to have someone, to be able to support someone through that, empowering them to ask more questions, search for a better doctor, go for this, go for that, knowing that this isn't it. That you may have diagnoses, you can live empowered in that. You can still be living a really wonderful life. It doesn't have to be over. But we all get these potentially these diagnoses, and we think that that must be it. And then we don't ask any more questions, or we go, oh, it is what it is. And I'm like, no, it's not what it is. Yes, to a degree, but no, keep going until you find the right answers, because, there is more to life than this. And I do believe that I'm going to overcome this completely 100%. Have I worked out every nook and cranny? No, but I think I'm meant to be having this experience so that I can support others in so many ways. And, so my why of doing stress management and health recovery is this. It's all of what I've been through. It's all what I'm learning and unlearnt, and the overbecoming, and so, yeah, and I'm super, if you haven't noticed, passionate about this particular thing, because, there's so much to it. It is so layered. And, so if I can support someone who's laying in their bed, can't get out, can't support their children, can't do anything, and is feeling so alone, and that I can help shift that, supporting them in shifting it for themselves, because it's their own answers they need, to get them to the next step, and then to the next step, and then living empowered in life. Wow, what a gift to be able to give,
Amazing.
So, yeah, that's
If
what lights me up.
If there was like one little tidbit or a habit that you could offer people that could potentially change their life or what they're doing, what would it be in relation to what you've been through?
It's definitely what I would suggest, which I didn't know, is to literally pause. That 5-minute pause where you take some deep breaths and you really allow your system to regulate back down, and asking yourself the question, what is it that I need right now? Or what's my body trying to tell me? Just those moments of forcing yourself to stop, without judgment, without needing to find anything, just listen and hear what you need. And it might just be that 5 minutes of quiet that then refuels you to get you to the next step, and the more often we do that, we're teaching ourselves to come from that stress level down to normal. And before the next event comes and takes us past that stress level. You know what I mean? So it is, I would do the pause, the 5-minute pause.
Amazing.
5 minutes.
Pausing.
Not a big investment, is it, of time? Everybody has 5 minutes.
And the more you do it, the more it will just naturally become part of, you know, and then your body's not so stuck in the survival, fight and flight because it's learning to regulate back down, you know, whereas I think to get to where I went, I was never regulated. I was in constant fight and flight, which we're not meant to stay in. And so, you know, to get to that level, you know, and our life in general and the world, it is constantly busy. There is always a constant stressor. And they're the micro stressors, let me speak properly, the micro stresses that actually build and become the big stress. And then a big stress comes and we, you know, like it just snowballs constantly. So, you know, yeah, giving yourself the permission to pause.
And can you look back and laugh at it, things now? Can you have a, you know, a shinier view about that? Are you able to see past that?
Oh, 100%. 100%. As I
good.
said, I feel like it's a gift.
Good. I love it.
Yeah, because without that, I'm not who I am. I wouldn't have learnt all I've needed to learn about me and continue to learn about me. Notice the things. And as I said, I now go, oh, wow, you've actually got the energy to be busy at the moment, you know, like, okay. And then there's another little voice going, just be careful, you know, like make sure you take a day out for yourself. And it's like, and I'm okay with doing that. Yep, I'm going to do that. I need that because I know what the alternative is. And we're not going down that path again because I've learned from that now.
So reflections, looking back, would you have considered a role in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory as Violet Beauregard? Do you know that? Do you remember Violet Beauregard? She blew up like a balloon in
that
Charlie and the
wasn't.
Chocolate
That was
Factory.
Veronica. Wasn't it?
Oh, was
yeah,
it?
Veronica Salt.
Oh, I can't remember.
And she turns blue.
No, was it Veronica who went blue, or was Veronica the one like, I want this, Daddy, I want that, I want a chipmunk, get me a...
That was Veruca.
That was Veruca.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Violet Beauregard. She blew up to be the big balloon.
Big blueberry.
Yeah. So you could have been moonlighting in Broadway.
Oh, yes. I should have taken the show on the road.
Well, hopefully you don't have to do that again.
No.
But I mean, but it's good for our listeners to know some of those, because, you know, I'm in sort of like a little bit of crossover with what we do. But, you know, like turning blue, like I've not heard of that, you know, like all these little things. And so I think just to be aware of stuff that can happen, because we can sort of talk our way out of it and like, oh yeah, it must be something, you know, it's something normal. It's sort of like disregard it. So I think those, I mean, you had some really crazy reactions. But, you know, the small or big reactions, they can be anything. And it's, I suppose the rule of thumb is just don't take it as the norm. If it's not normal and you know you're normal, then have a voice. Don't
write everything off as that normalizing the bad. I think that's, you know, we get very caught up in either normalizing bad behavior or normalizing the bad to say, oh no, we're okay. And it's not. And, you know, doctors are human too.
Yeah. 100%.
And they only know what they know. And not everyone has the scope to look outside the square. And unfortunately, with my situation, and there's many diagnoses along the lines of what mine is, you have to look outside the square to get the right answers, because medicine hasn't quite caught up. Like, they know a lot about it, but it's not an easy blood test to go, that's what you've got. You've got so much trial and error. So you do have to know your body, and don't take no from an answer. Go, you know yourself. You've got to advocate for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the
100%.
biggest takeaway
Mm.
with that.
Love
So
it.
yes.
Wow, thanks for sharing. That's a really great story, and I'm sure we're going to unpack more around this, as time goes on, because your story is significant, and it's going to be large, and more things will come out, and you have a lot to deliver to us and our audience, because it's quite severe what's going on.
Yeah.
But all
Thank you.
power to you in healing. Our vision with this podcast is simple. A burnout, business, and body aren't separate; they're connected. And when you take care of all three, you don't just survive life; you thrive in it. We're here to motivate, educate, and encourage you to take care of what's most important, and that is you. If you'd like to know more, follow us. We can work with you individually or as a team to help you improve burnout, business, and body. Bye for now.
Bye. See you, ladies. Thank you.